Hey guys, Dejan Kovacevic joined by Chris Halleck here. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is double shot of Steelers out here in Latrobe. How did I do for that one? Out here in Latrobe.
Out here to watch can't watch
Will Howard.
Can't watch Will Howard.
There's no Will
here.
Howard
No.
out here.
No, broken finger.
Confirmed by the coach.
Confirmed by Mike Tomlin. He is officially week to week, and he is definitely out against Jacksonville. He did call it non-surgical, so optimism, but he still. It sounds like he's going to be out for the preseason, but it's not definitive yet. But still, it's not the news that anybody wanted to hear.
Well, now they just had a practice that there's some veterans that were rested, not all. Aaron Rodgers certainly wasn't.
No.
And there's a couple of things that I want to bring up as it relates to the quarterback position because it was a thing that we talked about all summer long, and it still matters just as much as it did then, if not more. When you're missing a part of your future, ostensibly, in Howard, not just because he's popular with the fans, and I get that, okay? He's really likable and everything else here. This is a significant L for both Howard and the Steelers that he's not going to be able to participate in any of the preseason.
Yeah, because when we talk about meaningful reps, sure, all the reps that you can get in training camp matter. That's great. But it really, really matters whenever you're able to face a team that's not your own, where you're not facing your own teammates on the other side, where you are in a stadium and you're facing against other teams. Even the joint practices, and we'll get to that stuff here in a little bit, but the joint practices can be very beneficial for any quarterback, whether it's a rookie coming in, 6th rounder, or if it's a 21-year vet. Any of that, especially the joint practices, can be very valuable. But for a rookie like Howard, just being in a game situation and facing another team, those are the most valuable reps you can have.
You can't fake it. This is something that I think about where Howard is concerned. He's going to go through this whole season, meaning the regular season, as your number 3 guy and scout guy, meaning you're mimicking the reps of the opponent through the week.
Yeah.
That doesn't advance your cause much, okay? And that's just the way it has to be because of the numbers involved. Now, after that, where can he impress? You have to get to like next summer's OTAs, and by that time, everybody's already going to be dreaming of another young quarterback, and they're going to forget that Will Howard ever existed, respectfully here.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a big loss.
It is a big loss because when we talk about the importance of preseason, it's not that important for guys like Aaron Rodgers and other veteran players. It's extremely important for people like Will Howard who need to have as many live reps as they possibly can, and it looks like his entire preseason is going to be taken away from him because of this injury. And so, yes, like there's always going to be a debate on how important preseason is. It is a little bit different from player to player, but for Will Howard, it's definitely important.
Well, if you're interested in how important it is to Aaron Rodgers, here's what he had to say on that subject today, not holding anything back.
I've said a lot, with all due respect, then I can say whatever I want. Preseason football is not necessarily real football because the defenses just don't do a whole lot, and the offenses don't either. So you go out there with a very limited playbook against a defense that's playing one-eye zone, one-eye man, or two-eye zone. And there's not much pressure. There's oftentimes communication between the coaches about, hey, we're not going to pressure this week, or hey, we need to see a little bit of pressure. It's really about the operation. Now, that is where you can actually gain something from the preseason is you got 40 seconds, right? There's a play clock out here, but it's not always adhered to. So you have 40 seconds to call the play, to get the line of scrimmage, to get us in the right situation, and to go out and do it. And I think there's something to be gained for that. But as opposed to kind of when I got in the league, I would say, there's less schematic stuff that you're going to see in the regular season. Because teams are, especially most of the joint practices, I would say, you're not going to play that team in the regular season. So they're less worried about showing things that they want to work on. And even though there usually are cameras there and it's filmed, they're less skittish about running the stuff they've been running all camp that they're going to try and do in the regular season against another team that you're not going to play in the regular season. So I've found those beneficial. As long as there's not a lot of fights, I think they're a good work day for the first week.
Okay, so it's not real football. That's what I took from that. It's not real football. He is doing a very poor job of showing that what's happening here is unimportant, okay? The highest praise that I can offer Rodgers to this setting, okay, to where we are in training camp, is that there isn't anybody out there, I'm pointing toward Chuck Noll Field over there, who's given more. And I'm not saying that in some, rah-rah way or, because it sounds like the right thing to say because he's the quarterback. I'm saying it because it's accurate, and I'm saying it because I don't know of anybody in this fold, yourself included, who would argue with me on that.
I mean, look, he's been out there all but one day.
It feels like it's almost all but one snap. It's not just that he had the one day off post Friday Night Lights, okay? Right. But it's that every team drill starts with 8. Every team drill seems to either end with 8 or get prolonged by 8. And he's doing and saying, and he's just done everything right to date, okay? And, for those of you who go, aren't you the guy who, yeah, of course I was. But this was one of the concerns, and I feel it had been a valid concern. How invested is he going to be in the Steelers? How invested is he going to be in still playing in the NFL? We could not have those answers until he got here. Well, he's here.
Well, he's here, and a part of some of the other stuff he talked about this morning when he was talking about, the importance or lack thereof of preseason for him, and how important it is to have those joint practices. Some of the other things he talked about was the ability or the openness that he had with other players. I mean, he's saying that his room's always open, that there's always discussion going on. If somebody has questions, he even joked around with Ben Skoranek within earshot. He even joked around saying sometimes Ben doesn't even knock anymore. He just barges right into the room, and then Ben, after the interview is over, he just yells at Rodgers like, "I don't knock anymore. That's fake news." And so you can see the camaraderie building, whether it's off the field, whether it's on the field, the constant communication with Ramon Wilson, and that's actually bore its fruit based off of the last couple of days, at least from what I've seen with my own eyes. I think that yes, he has done about everything as you would expect a starting quarterback to come in and do, whether it be both on the field or off the field, in terms of being the leader of the offense.
And sometimes being the leader of the football team can come into play as well. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you a story that you're not going to see, hear, or read anywhere else. Hang on for this one.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Welcome back to Double Shot of Steelers. Chris Halleck, Dejan Kovacevic here at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. And one of the many beautiful things about this scenario here, in addition to what you see behind us here at the Mr. Rogers Center, which is a little bit lower, like it's a tier lower than where Chuck Noll Field is that you get to not only look at everything and listen to everything, but you get to report it.
Yeah.
Unlike the NFL guidelines that come into play in the regular season with practices. So, I'm down in the far end zone, and I'm there with Terrell Austin, and we're watching it. It was a pretty routine drill. It was quarterbacks and receivers against
7-on-7,
defensive backs, okay? You're just your basic 7-on-7 drill. And there was a play that went into the end zone. It was Ramon Wilson. He was being covered illegally by Brandon Echols. Okay, Echols got a really good tug in, and even the defensive coordinator himself might or might not have confirmed that, in fact, this was not an okay play. Well, Echols, who has been one of the more spirited individuals in this camp, scrappy, edgy, all that stuff, okay, way more than what his reputation had been, is following Wilson back to the huddle, and he's still, and we've seen a lot of this from him, talking. Well, the quarterback at the time was Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers says, hey, don't speak to my player. Speak to me. Talk to me. Don't talk to my player. And something was said back, and I couldn't make it out because Echols is facing the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. And Rodgers, who was, of course, teammates with Echols in the swamps of New Jersey, Rodgers says back to him, I love you, man. Don't talk to my player. There's so many levels on which I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, that I don't even know where to start. Yeah. He doesn't have to do that, meaning Rodgers. He doesn't have to stick up for Ramon Wilson like that.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. And when we talk about the connection between Rodgers and Ramon Wilson, which has been a pretty, it's been a pretty, polarizing subject amongst the fans, because the big concern is who's WR2, and if they're not going to trade for Terry McLaurin,
it's valid.
Who's going to be the guy who steps up? And Calvin Austin hasn't been out there. He's banged up now.
Including today, by the way.
Yeah, so he wasn't out there again. He's banged up. So Ramon Wilson is getting all this added time, all these extra snaps, and you can see the bond. And even, again, this morning, Rodgers said he is so talented. He
talking about Wilson.
Yeah, gave more and more praise to Ramon Wilson this morning. And so it's one thing to see the first week of camp and be like, man, he's slow coming out of his breaks. He's not making catches. Him and Rodgers aren't on the same page. Well, that's why these guys are here. And when you
get better.
When you hear those kind of stories, and it's not just, but then you also see more catches being made, more routes that are being, executed timely so that Rodgers can put the ball exactly where he wants to put it. And you see the confidence growing. That kind of stuff bears from that too. And it's really cool to see. And again, that's why these guys are here. They're not here to come out here, and Rodgers isn't trying to be Kent Graham in 2000 and trying to get a 90 completion percentage so that he can become the starter over Cordell Stewart.
Strays for Kent Graham on today's episode. Did not see this coming.
But but there are so many people who get obsessed with counting stats in camp. That's not what they're doing here.
On the flip side of this, the other part of this story that I love is that Echols has become a part of the broader story here. He is in a camp with 3 guys who have been not anointed, but deservingly so, put into positions where they are coverage people, per Mike Tomlin.
Right.
And all that means is, here's me, here's you, here's me, here's you. We're just going to cover you. That's it. It's not going to be double coverage. It's not going to be trade-off coverage. It's not going to be zone. We're just going to be on you.
Yeah.
Echols does not want to be left off of that. He doesn't want to be left off the list. He doesn't want to hear us saying stuff like, there's 3 or whatever, and he has come in with an edge, which he acknowledged to me today is something that he's brought back to his game. He feels like he lost it a little bit. Here is a good quality minute and change that I had with Echols regarding that, and I did, of course, ask him about the exchange with Rodgers. What you got there? Everybody's carrying around watermelon.
Watermelon, very top secret for the electrolytes.
Very nice. Look at all that too. They really treat you right around here.
Yeah, slice on slice.
Since you're new to us, I don't know that we all knew that you had this edge to you, but you really do. What's been up with that?
That's always been me since I was, playing ball, little league, to high school, to college. I always had that little, edge to my game. It kind of faded away, because I had to, try to figure myself out once I got to the league. But, gain my confidence back now. I feel like my regular self, and, now y'all see what kind of person I really am.
No, we really see it. That's why I'm asking, because I don't know that even that you came with that kind of reputation, but we're watching you here day after day. Not only are you making plays, but you're doing it in an aggressive way.
Yeah, man. I grew up watching guys like Ramsey, when they used to allow the shit talking, and guys like who else? Just other guys that was
you can
big
pretty
talkers
much
in the
start
league.
man with him. That's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's always been a part of my game. That's how I get myself going. That's how I get myself motivated, amped up, ready for the game, and able to make plays.
Now the talking isn't limited here, and as I saw you and the quarterback down there, it's like, all right, because you're letting the receiver know you had him. You might have tugged him a little bit. I'm not playing referee here, but then you say something and the quarterback says something back.
It's competition. You say something to me, I'm gonna say something back. We got it. That's how it got to be. I want you to keep coming at me like that because at the end of the day, it's just gonna fuel me to go even harder and then force me to make plays when you come at me.
Now, your style of play, you told us, and I was in the press conference the day that you were introduced here. You said, "I'll go inside, outside. I don't really care. Put me on the field." This thing that Mike Tomlin has created, the coverage people thing, do you fit that?
Hell yeah, he want to sit down and play man-to-man against everybody best receivers, so that's what we're going to sit here and do.
That's it, with a big smile on your face.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, one of the perks of that particular video is that you get to see that the Steelers really do deserve better grades on those annual union report cards because that was some fresh watermelon and fruit that was rushed out to the athletes. Jonnu Smith took, I'm not kidding, that tray that you saw in the video, Jonnu Smith took a whole tray of that for himself and just walked off with a big smile on his face.
That's awesome.
Echols is going to be part of this.
Oh, yeah.
Is he not? We've been saying it for a while here.
Oh, no, and that's why, Mike Tomlin talked about it after practice today. He's like, you see Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay standing off to the side in sweats. You're like, okay, newer guys to the defense, like, why aren't they out there? Well, it's because they know, Tomlin knows what Slay and Ramsey bring to the table. So this is, and he said intentionally, this is more opportunity for guys who need the opportunity. And Echols is one of them. And we're talking right now, he is CB4 on the depth chart, and that's going to be an important position because if any guy goes down, whether it's Porter or any of those guys go down, Echols is going to be one of the first guys out there. He can play both outside and inside, and when he's having a camp the way he is, with the added ability, and this doesn't get talked about enough, to play special teams the way that he does, that's even more valuable.
He's been a special teams cog.
Yeah.
Wherever he's been. This edge thing I'm totally into because he's not the only one that has it. He's, to an extent, and he didn't say this, I'm just going to throw this at him, okay? But when you're around those types of players and they're behaving as they are, and as you saw in the exchange there, both of us singled out Jalen Ramsey in this regard, okay? You can see where you'd think, all right, well, that's led him to a whole lot of success. I can do that too. And even if Aaron Rodgers is mad at me, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, listen, Ramsey gets, even coming into practice here, Ramsey has the reputation of being a gigantic trash talker. Being the loudest guy out there. Patrick Queen's been saying, like, man, he talks so much. And Echols, man, sometimes all you need is something a little extra like that to add some edge to your game, and all of a sudden you become a little bit more of a competitive, man coverage guy because you bring that edge that you're talking to your play, and what's the old adage? As long as you back it up, you can talk as much as you want.
Back it up, you can say anything as long as they don't throw a flag on you. You got to watch that too here. The Steelers are playing in Jacksonville Saturday night. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff. Before we sign off today, Chris, before we start thinking more about Jacksonville, give me one player that you've liked that might not be really on anybody's radar. It can't be a potential starter. Like, I'm putting you on the spot here. Actually, so what? While you think about it, I'm going to throw you mine.
Okay.
Mine is Brandon Johnson, and you're going to say, oh, what? Was on the practice squad last year for the Steelers. He's actually appeared in some handful of games. He's shown really well. Like, there's not a wide receiver drill that you see where you don't notice him. And given that he's got something of a more significant frame to the position, it is really legitimately surprising to me that his name doesn't come up more often as that guy who could be your fill-in if DK Metcalf were to get hurt.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson is. He does. He's played in the league. He played for the Broncos. He's played for the Steelers. Obviously, he was on the practice squad all last year. Played in 3 games last year.
Number 11, by the way. If you've been out here, he's number 11.
There are always times. It's always about how do you translate from looking good in practice to looking good in games, and that's when the preseason could be a really good time for him to showcase.
Perfect case.
Yeah.
Perfect case. Yeah.
For me, I'm going. He's been in the league, so I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be like some rookie or anything like that. But I'm gonna go with Dylan Cook.
Dylan Cook's a good one.
So, Listen, there's a lot of talk.
He's number 60,
Yeah.
by the way. We're going to keep helping those of you guys who've been out here and you just got to know people by numbers. But Dylan Cook is 60, and he's also really tall.
Yeah, he's a good-sized guy. And there's all of this talk about Broderick Jones and whether he's going to sink or swim this season, how important it is, of course. But at the same time, you know, the depth matters because sometimes
A lot.
Broderick Jones might not be playing because of injury or anybody else. You know, Troy Fautanu, if he doesn't stay healthy again. That puts a lot of pressure on Calvin Anderson. That puts a lot of pressure on Dylan Cook. And I think Calvin Anderson is a pro. I think he can come in. He can do a fine job. But Dylan Cook, to me,
He has arrow.
a little bit more of an
Yeah.
arrow than Calvin Anderson does. I think whenever Dylan, he's always looked pretty good in practice. And the combination of athleticism and size, he's an interesting guy to me. So, again, another guy that can he continue to establish himself as another guy who can not only make himself a sure member of the 53-man roster, but also be a guy who can be the first tackle on the field if either Jones or Fautanu go down.
Guys, that's it from St. Vincent College today. The Steelers practice. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. And then on Friday, we do what you just heard in the background there. Off to Jacksonville, Florida. Not from the Latrobe Airport, though. We'll be heading from a certain bigger one. It's about an hour away. We'll see you guys tomorrow.